There are many views on the meaning of life. Personally, I stick to one. This is my practice, and I do not claim universal truth. So remember Syndrome's phrase from The Incredibles? Like, if everyone is super, then no one is super. So if nothing has meaning, then everything has meaning. If truth is nothing, then everything is truth. In short, that's how it is. Everything else is up to you. The world is like a lobby with hundreds of different quests, and they make sense as long as you play them. But once you delete the game, the meaning disappears. It's like the saying about the samurai who has no goal, only a path. We all understand how his path ends, and ours too. I think some of you are already on the path. So, take out the katana and start sharpening it. If you get tired of sharpening with one hand, use the other one. I think many people who believe life is meaningless have just never sniffed glue. But seriously, there are few people nowadays who truly enjoy achieving their goals. The path to a small, easy task, like getting a scholarship to study abroad at a place like Hogwarts and graduating with honors, or adding a few kilograms of muscle so the shirt doesn't hang like on a hanger. Life is movement. If there is no movement of anything anywhere, then this state can be described as zero, neither here nor there. By the way, samurai topics are quite interesting if you think about them a bit. I wrote down a few of them, in my opinion, the most interesting ones. Let's analyze their philosophy. Don't be unsure of yourself. I understand that our world is how we see it, and the visible world is subjective, so the only thing we can be somewhat sure of is ourselves. So don't stress, stay healthy. As Genghis Khan said, if you act, don't be afraid. If you're afraid, don't act. Another interesting wisdom is don't hold grudges or hatred towards others. Well, it's as genius as it is simple. Who has the time and energy to hate someone? If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't love it, don't eat it. It will exist regardless of whether you love it or not. It's a waste of everything you can waste. In short, just let it go. And overall, as I see it, hating or defending any kind of art is pointless. Art is subjective by nature. Soldiers defend their homeland, students defend their diplomas, and dudes defend a fictional character created by an artist or writer. Well, the importance of something is also subjective, but I don't know, maybe I'm not young enough to argue about art. Defeat your past self, and tomorrow you will crush your enemies. In modern times, when the information flow is so strong that any achievements pale in comparison to others from the internet, of course, you don't want to be the guy who started and couldn't finish, especially when you see how kids from different corners of the world have already surpassed you in everything, even though they are 0 years old. So don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself to your past self. That way it's easier not to get overwhelmed. If life is an endless grind, it's better to level up so that at least grinding becomes easier. Master every art to understand the world better. This also relates to the meaning of life. Personally, I believe that if life has no meaning, then everyone seeks meaning for themselves. This means that there is no useless information in life. The main thing is to know how to use it. Some people engage in such narrow activities that you wonder, can this be relevant at all? But nevertheless, there are many such people, like a crime scene cleaner, a pet psychologist, an ice cream consultant. Imagine advising people on different types of ice cream. For some, it's useless information, but for others, it's a dream job. Well, I think the point is clear. People must always improve, or else they die without really living. Well, this is one of those provocative quotes. 10 samurai out of 10. It's clear that this person doesn't perform in the circus. I like this quote. I think about it myself. I thought there is value in knowing your maximum potential. At least it's interesting. You know, living without trying anything is like finishing a game in an hour and then finding out there are 7 more endings you'll probably never unlock. By the way, about potential. When a person is overpowered, there comes a point when everything becomes uninteresting. Like Saitama. This anime is a troll squared, and both the cyclist and Saitama fit our topic perfectly. The cyclist is like the samurai. He has his own path, even if it looks pointless. But the main thing is, he enjoys it, and Saitama is sad from being overpowered. If he were weak like the cyclist, his life would be brighter. But this is about how the journey itself is interesting, because for a samurai, the path is important, not the end goal. Saitama has reached the peak of his strength, and now, like Kanye West, he doesn't know how to entertain himself. In short, this topic is shown quite well. By the way, I've noticed that the Japanese are strong in irony, and in post-irony too. And here are 2 quotes about the perception of information. The first, open your eyes, pay attention even to small things, and look at life strategically. Look at the near from afar, and at the far from close up. Well, I think it's not as simple as it seems at first glance. Let's discuss it. Nowadays, due to the overwhelming flow of information itself has become devalued. You don't even need to Google anymore. If you don't understand something, a kid in the comments will explain how to live correctly and how everything works. Information nowadays doesn't hold power in the sense that in the past, a well-read person could show off to the guys by knowing a lot, and he was respected for it. To be well-read back then, you had to spend a lot of time reading books and remembering all the information. But now people can Google something in a minute and get the most up-to-date article on any topic. Now, when the world is taken over by TikTok and similar apps, where the flow of information has reached its limit, we are all like filters that don't work work. The stream of water flows through us and just goes away in liters. And in my opinion, now people who can use information correctly are valued. You know, there was a period in my life when I read books on self-development and thinking one after another. Books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon, and a dozen other similar, now cliche books. These books mainly talked about two topics: financial literacy, the very basics of how to save, invest, and grow wealth. And secondly, thinking like the rich. You know, like everyone in their youth, I thought, this is so banal, the same old thing. These books are made to sell and make money. But as I grew older, I realized that I downloaded the books for free. Remember that moment when opening the Dragon Scroll, Poe saw nothing but his own reflection? It's the same here. There is no secret. Finances have always worked by the same scheme, which is not a secret at all, as those books say. And they still work this way. The rich have always gotten richer, and they still do. The point is not that the books lie or say banal things. It's that those banal things actually work. It's just that many people don't do them. Many hear, but don't listen. Back then, I thought I understood. But in reality, I understood nothing. Has anyone ever had a moment when you thought you were dumb a year ago, but now you're okay? And then it happens again and again. That's how it was for me. So what am I talking about? As the samurai said, look at the near from afar, and at the far from up close. I think if a samurai is unsure, he will double check because the price of a mistake is high. I'll give a simple example. You know, the information you have is also available to the video creator, any video creator, Vsauce, Veritasium, guys who analyze books and movies, writing to someone about a topic they made a video on, knowing they have the same internet as you, from which they got the same information as you, is like drinking water to wash down water. But that's just how I see it. But now we don't live in harsh times, so do what makes you happy. After all, nothing is true. Everything is permitted. Do what you want, don't do what you don't want. Speak, write. It's your right. But remember, everyone gets in life exactly what they are worth. No more, no less. Everything is in your hands. This was WaWatcher. And the last thing I wanted to say. Any samurai taking up a sword understood that he could be challenged to a duel, but nevertheless, they were responsible for their path, which they chose, and accepted defeat with dignity, understanding that only they were to blame for not being able to defeat their enemy. So live, learn, improve, and remember, the meaning of life is what you put into it.